Hi, guys. So my question is, how do you do it? I see how life is now. Why the hell are any of us alive? I'm not even depressed, and I'm saying that. Everybody's miserable. You know? Like, pretty much everybody. And most people are faking it. I'm not faking it. I have my joy inside, but I'd say that I'm like socially miserable because I'm surrounded by miserable people. And I didn't know that that's really how things were, you know? Because of my naivete, people were nice to me. And they were just, I guess, didn't take me seriously and push me off. And now that I know how the world works, I'm treated like a normal person. And that veil is lifted and everybody is miserable. And I didn't know that. And now I'm sitting here like, how do people do it? Like, how can people be so miserable and still get up in the morning every day? Like, how does anybody live like that? I'm breathless over it. I'm just blown away. They're outside feelings, and you don't get to call me by name because you don't know me. Guys, this is the other thing. It amazes me, the insane level of narcissism in this world as well. Where people don't have, like, you don't know me at all. To any of you watching, right? Even if you like watching me, I appreciate that. Either way, you don't know me. It amazes me how people will come in and call me by name. Like they know me, just to challenge me. Like I'm important. And then tell me I'm not important. I must be so fucking important to you. I must be. It's amazing. I mean, look at this. How is this important? How on earth is this considered important? Look at this. This is not important. You know? Like, I'm not unimportant, but I'm not that important. People take me way too seriously. Way too seriously. I just came on to complain. I came on to have the conversation and say, I did not know that the world is this miserable. I didn't know any of you were this miserable. What the hell is wrong with everybody? Like, what is wrong with people? Seriously. The world is not that bad. And I am completely appalled, taken aback, and aghast that everybody is miserable when life is so simple. Everybody wants this ultimate level of compassion while they complain and do nothing about it. That's not the same as somebody having problems and needing to be compassionate towards them. It's not the same thing. When people are making endless excuses for themselves, and I've been there, I've definitely been there, making endless excuses for themselves and then continuing to complain when things don't go their way. I've been in those shoes. I know what that's like. I didn't know that I was in those shoes, though. Had I known, even if, people tell me that, but I see them doing the same thing, so I didn't listen. I finally woke up and I said, okay, I'm doing that. Now I see other people doing it, and I'm like, wait a second. They know they're doing it. People know that they're just terrible, crappy people making excuses, and they're like whining all the time, complaining and whining all the time. Seriously? Like there's breath in your lungs. What on earth is your excuse? If I don't have one, why do you? Man, my life definitely was a lot worse, and I'm not complaining. Not anymore. what I'm going to complain about is other people, just like everybody else, is things are okay. Like, things are difficult for me, but I didn't know how miserable everybody was. Like, what the hell is wrong with people? It's good to stay optimistic. Yeah. So like, I'm optimistic, and I'm okay. So I'm coming into adulthood. So I'm 25. So I'm not young, right? Adulthood's not new for me, but I've definitely been blind in life, and now seeing and opening my eyes and seeing is that people treat me differently now, right? I'm not this fresh piece of meat. I'm not this young thing anymore. The way that people were treating me, I didn't know they were treating me that way. I didn't know that people were nice to me over naivete and my looks. I actually thought people liked me, which is stupid. I mean, I guess I'm the idiot in the room. That's fine. But somebody could have said it. One person could have been like, hey, you're not that awesome. But they could have said it in a way that I was going to understand. No. Torture me. That was the option that the American public chose. Torture me. Torture me. Torture. So, okay. People are miserable. And those people can suck it. And I do mean that. Like, I don't have time for that. I don't feel bad for you. You never felt bad for me. I had to figure it out. So for those of you out there who are just bitching at this point, like, I don't feel bad for you. I thought you were stupid. That's what I thought. I thought you guys were slow and stupid. I figured that you didn't know that you're, not doing things about your life and then complaining. I thought you didn't know that was going. I didn't know that you not only know about your issues, but you're intentionally doing nothing about them and then bitching about it and expecting me to make content to make you happy. I would prefer you be miserable so that you can see that you're miserable for a reason and you do something about it. I'm not your drug. I'm definitely not your drug. And, I'm not a social prostitute. So you're not going to see me selling myself out for the sake of views or for the sake of, your self-deprivation. I'm not going to contribute to your misery. If I'm going to do that, we're just going to talk about the misery because it's ridiculous. I cannot believe how many people are just so complacently miserable. Rich people, poor people, religious people, non-religious. I mean, every part of life, people are just bitching and complaining, and it's hilarious. Like, life is so short. That's something I have always understood. What I didn't understand were these nuances and these things about how people get along, and I thought it was going to get me to want to buy in. I really did. I thought, okay, once I understand how people think, then I'm gonna find a way to get in and get along and fit in. Well, now I know what fitting in looks like, and I'm not interested. Most people are disgusting. I mean, and it's the average public. Like, it's the way that people operate in society. They're miserable and angry. They hate their own lives. They hate each other. They lie to each other. Like, that's just how people are. Yes, I really didn't know that. I really did not know that people do that on a regular basis with their consciousness. They know that they're doing it, and they do it. I'm not the idiot here, guys. All you lying to each other, you're the dumb ones. That's so stupid. Life is so simple. Life is so freaking simple. And we torture ourselves for no good reason. For no good reason we torture ourselves, and it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I just woke up to this today. So that's why you're getting a lot of emotion from it. I just woke up to it today. I had no freaking idea people were so terrible and miserable. And I mean, it's the standard too. It's like the standard to be the devil. What is wrong with the world today? I don't know, but I don't like it. I don't take me to Mars with Elon. This is insane. If they're miserable, so torturing someone makes them feel better. But it's that momentary rise, that's a momentary happiness. Are people really that behind that they don't realize the simple truths in lives, like the simple things that work are so obvious? I mean, they're so obvious. They're common sense. Like, Be humble, be kind. And I'm doing my best. It's hard because I didn't know. So like, I'm going to need a little time to process that, right? And it's really hard to bottle it in when you just wake up for the first time to, hey, the whole world is a giant sack of shit. I didn't know that. Or at least that's the American portrayal that I've been given, is that everybody's miserable and life sucks. I don't believe that that's how it is everywhere. It's definitely how it is here in America for the most part. And people are just like, dude, just take your pills. Just take your pills and pretend like everything's okay. Come on, fake it with us. Just fake it with us, Jimmy. That's what you got to do and you'll get along. No, I want to pay my debts and get the hell out. You know? I'll take what I've learned here because I love my country, and we can go instill that somewhere where people actually give a shit, and they're not a couple 100 million people that are massively entitled, miserable, and fighting each other for air when we have plenty to go around. Plenty to go around. Plenty of air, plenty of land, plenty of money, plenty of people, plenty of friends, plenty of sex, plenty of all of it. It's so easily accessible, all of it. And if you don't like bothering other people to get it, you can go to the internet for most of it. And yet we still fight. I mean, you would think with everything we have accessible here, we would do the opposite. We would stop fighting. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm saying, wait a second. I'm safe, comfortable, and I have everything I want. All I have left is community. All I need to do is find people that are decent to be around. That's the hard part. And then that's it. And then I'm good. But I didn't know that this is just the climate of how things are in our country. Or at least for the most part. And people would say, oh, Jimmy, it's the people you surround yourself with. Guys, you've seen me. I've traveled almost every state. And I've experienced many different kinds of people. Both on the internet and in real life. The majority of Americans are disastrously manic depressive. Like, illness is just the average and the standard. And we're blaming the tools in our hands while we get off in the dark. It's our own doing. Like, we're misusing our own tools. You can't blame the tool. Sorry, you just suck and you're miserable. And I get that. I have my own miseries. That's the next worst part, is people who, when I'm honest about it and I say, hey, I'm hurt and I'm sad, it's, well, how do I get something from him now? Because now I'm an adult, right? Well, what I didn't know is they're doing it to me when I was a kid too. I didn't know it, right? They could hide it from me. Now I'm an adult. And when people try to get something from me, I can see it. And it hurts that much worse because I can see it. But I guess it's good because I'm not going to get fooled. But it's so sad that people really are just this way. And there is just no other way. That's just how it is. And I fought so hard to see something else. You guys have watched over the years. I've fought to see anything other than that. It's because it's best to live in my own personal bubble. Here's the thing about how our minds work, though. We need community. We are made to be around more than just 5 or 6 or 7 people. We're made to be around a lot of people. It's what we're made to do. And we're living in this society here in America where, you are told that it is possible for you to do it alone. It's impossible. It's scientifically impossible for you to do it alone. It's not possible. You know what alone means? Alone means you go to a random island and you live by yourself and you build. This isn't alone. You don't do it alone in America. If there is a dollar bill in your pocket, you haven't done it alone. And anyone who thinks they have is blasphemously arrogant, disastrously arrogant to believe that the word entrepreneurship applies to the American dollar. That's not entrepreneurship. We can call it whatever we want. But at the end of the day, we have one hell of a safety net, and we're not doing it alone. Even if I were to go on the internet and make all of my money on the internet, I owe thanks to you. I owe thanks to Google. I owe thanks to Twitter. I owe thanks to Oberlo and AliExpress or wherever else I drop ship from, right? If I want to just make my money that way, there's somebody you're going to have to thank. Don't pretend like you're somebody off in the Amazon chopping down trees, building log cabins and fishing. It's not what you're doing. You're using tools that other people are standing behind. It's a fallacy in the belief that we're doing it alone. That's arrogance and narcissism on a psychotic level. And as I turn and I sit here and I continue to educate myself on how these illnesses work, I'm like, we practically live in a country full of narcissistic psychopaths. And if you ask anybody outside of America, it's just like they get that. They don't really have respect for Americans, and that's just how it is. I'm an American, and I love my country. I'm saying most of us are sick. Those two go together. I love the system we live in. It has a fantastic ability to absorb these issues and continue to shift things and make them better. At the same time, we're at a point in American history where everybody is sick and miserable for the most part. And I feel trapped and attacked. And that's not paranoia. When you use common sense, that's not paranoia. I am surrounded by miserable, angry people that if I show a shred of happiness, it is an opportunity for them to pounce. And they do. I just want out of the cage. That's all I want. Admittance that I am being passive-aggressively shoved into a corner, and then a little bit of freedom to say, hey, there's the door. I'd like to walk out. I'd like to leave. And I'll show you a better way. Be like, hey, I don't have to change you. Let me go do it. I'll show you how it works. And maybe you guys can just learn from it a little bit. But I'm telling you, this is not how it's done. It's just not. There's simple facts about life. No amount of popularity bias, even a couple 100 million, changes it. It doesn't. It might affect your brain so much that if you don't have the discipline to understand it, you're going to disagree with me and write it off. But there's simple ways to live life that worked for thousands of years. They still work. Nothing's changed for the most part in reference to that. And we don't live them. We don't live them. And then we complain when things don't go our way. And that's just how it is. A lot of you wanted me to just see how it is, and you should have been careful with what you wish for, right? Because now I see how it is. And now I'm saying how it is. And now I'm seeing it even better than the people who taught me what to see. But what they expected was that when they pulled back the curtain, I would want to dance on stage with them. And I'm like, you're fucking sick. Like, this is twisted, and I'm not interested. Whatever the design here is, I keep trying to buy myself in, but then I feel so guilty and I hate myself because I know I don't want a part of it. I don't want a part of it. You can have it. You can have the money, the fame, everything that comes with it. It's disgusting the way that it's being done, and the ends do not justify the means. And people that think that it does, they've lost their sanity completely. And they've lost their peace. For me, my peace has no price. Love and peace in my heart, they are the paramount. And they're not going to be stepped in on, no matter the situation. And there have been a lot of people who fought really hard to shake my spirit and make sure I get rid of that. And it almost worked. And I've done some disastrous things. You guys have seen that. And even now, I'm just, like I said, I am depressed. I can relate to it. But I have that joy in my heart because I maintain a peace about who I am. And I make sure to remember that part of where I'm at does include others, that even though I am responsible for my actions, I have to remember I am not solely responsible for my actions. Anyone that believes that you are solely responsible for your own actions has cut them. You're disassociated from reality. Because the reality is, as a human race, as a species on this planet, we are connected with one another. That's just how it is. No different than other animals run from rain or, run from a storm. We're animals. And so it's kind of just built into us. We don't need to think too much about it. And I didn't know that people didn't know that. I thought people just had common sense. You look at the flesh on your bones, you're a human being. You're an animal in this kingdom. And we are more than that. I agree. But at our core, things are pretty simple. We're just human beings. And people put so much extra thought into that. And we dress up and we try to make it whatever story we can make it. But when that's at the cost of how we feel inside or whether or not we like ourselves, it's not worth it. You might as well throw away the uniform. That's just my personal opinion. That if you're going to be miserable either way, what are you really fighting for? If you are embodying the thing that you're fighting for and you're miserable, and then you go and you fight for that idea, but you're fighting for an idea that's making you miserable, what on earth are you doing with your life? I don't care if you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, if you're in the military, if you're sitting here and you're an influencer. It's everybody fighting for one cause, but when I stand back and look, it doesn't look like there's a cause. Like, what's the cause? Like, we're fighting for nothing. What's the cause? Everybody's miserable. We're fighting so hard to prove we're right when our system, I think is pretty good. But we're like using it as a weapon instead of just using it as the tool it was made to be. And then blaming our ancestors and saying that because the country was started off poorly, that, it's their fault that we're doing it poorly now. They've been dead for hundreds of years. Just keep on, when they started their country, they blamed the British. Now here we are blaming them. Who's the next to blame for our own miseries? It's our own misery. People just want to sit back and eat their Cheetos. And you can do that. That's fine. But you're fucking miserable anyway. So maybe, I don't know, go on YouTube and look up something important. Save your $3. Put it into something more productive. Or enjoy your Cheetos while you watch YouTube. Or just do something that's going to make you really happy instead of continuing to shove that shit down your throat, expecting it to change the way you feel indefinitely. Because it doesn't. It just doesn't. I've been there. I've been Domino's almost every day. I've been the fast food life. You saw that. I've been all those different ways. And they only destroyed my body and my mind. And I'm not some holistic person. I'm just a dude who's sick of the drama and sick of the constant misery. And I'm not going to live it anymore at any cost. I'd rather die than go through it. There's no reason for it. It doesn't have to be that way. People choose it and then say they're not choosing it. This is me letting you know that I'm not choosing that anymore. I'm choosing to just be myself and let things flow and to roll with the punches. I also woke up to this idea where I used to believe I was this pacifist. So I'm not a violent person, but I'm not a pacifist either. And as I sit here, I'm like a 190-pound man. And I know martial arts. I got no problems with protecting myself. I understand how to use self-defense weapons when need be. And here I am quivering on the internet in front of 20 people. What the hell am I afraid of? I don't have much to be afraid of. It's mostly the unknown that gets us sometimes. And I'm not so afraid of the unknown anymore because as I've been afraid of dying and this and that, I'm very grateful that people have helped me face my mortality because now I realize I'm not that afraid to die. I'm not going to seek it out. I mean, that's sick. But I mean, for the first time in my life, I don't give a fuck. Like for the first time in my life, I don't care. For the first time in my life, I can be honest with myself and say, I don't care. And I said that the other broadcast. And I said that to Case, I'm sorry. Like I thought I cared more than this, or at least I used to. And where I'm at now, I think we should work on caring more because, like a lot of you, neither one of us really cares that much. And instead of pretending like we're better people, we're just accepting it, and say, hey, well, we don't care the way that we used to. I think we should figure out how to do it again. And so we're doubling down on that. And it's exciting, but at the same time, it's way more than an experience. It's a recentering to say we lost ourselves. And I sit here and I was on the phone earlier and I'm ashamed to say, man, did I lose myself? I didn't even know I could. I said,